Well, after spending the last 4 seasons as the defensive coordinator at Navy, our next guest is now the 40th head coach in the history of Navy football history. It's a pleasure for us to have our first conversation with Navy head coach Brian Newberry, who's with us now here on GCR. Coach, it's Glenn. It's great to chat with you. Thank you for taking the time for us, and congratulations.
Absolutely. Thanks, Glenn. Appreciate you having me on.
Coach, it's great to chat with you. I know, the last few weeks, I can only imagine what a whirlwind they've been. And I know there's probably an amount of awkwardness that's been involved with all of that. But we'll cover some of it. But just for you to be the head football coach at the United States Naval Academy, can you put into words for us what type of honor that is?
Yeah, really, really hard to wrap your mind around it when you just said 40th head coach of the Naval Academy. It's really humbling. But just a great honor and a privilege, like I keep saying over and over again, to have an opportunity to lead this program. It's such a prestigious institution, to be my first head coaching job. I mean, what a dream come true, and just really, really grateful for the opportunity, humbled by it. It's a great responsibility that I take great pride in, and excited about the future. Excited to lead this program, and just it has been a whirlwind, like you said earlier, but it's been great too. A lot of tough things, a lot to wrap your mind around in a short amount of time, but navigating through it, but it's all been very positive.
Obviously, you've been coaching for a long time, and you've been in Annapolis coaching for a little while, but we just haven't had the opportunity to catch up and chat, you and I. I was just wondering if you could tell us a little bit about, your path to getting into coaching from your days playing at Baylor. Like, when did you know this is what you wanted to do? And as you were grinding away, were there ever times where you were like, man, I don't know if this is really worth it?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's I didn't grow up the son of a football coach. Loved playing sports as a young person and throughout high school, and I got to college, I really didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, and I kind of didn't declare a major until really late. Had a lot of great high school coaches that really had a big influence on me, and so I went in the direction of getting a degree in education. Thought I might coach and teach in high school. After I did my student teaching, I realized that maybe that wasn't for me to be in the classroom all day. And then at that point, I still didn't know even if I wanted to coach. Wasn't sure what I wanted to do. A lot of people don't know this, but I took a year off after I graduated from Baylor. Went out to Montana and was a tour guide in National Park out there, trying to get away and trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And that was a great time of reflection for me. And at that point, I kind of made my mind that I was going to try to get into coaching, and kind of come up the hard way. I started off as a graduate assistant at Southern Arkansas University, which is a Division II program there in Arkansas, and bounced around all over the place. I've coached Division II, Division III, FCS, and I've painted grass fields, I've cut grass, I've cleaned out locker rooms and toilets, and I've done a little bit of everything. And but it's been a path that I think a lot of people look at success as seeing it as a straight line up. But mine's been all over the place, and I'm thankful for that. It's taught me a lot along the way. I've learned from a lot of great people, and I had a lot of different responsibilities, which helped me to get to the position I'm in here today. But no, I didn't grow up necessarily wanting to be a coach. And I talked about this last week, and I didn't even necessarily think that I'd end up being a head coach. It never was really the end-all, be-all for me. I've really enjoyed being a defensive coordinator for most of my career. Didn't really start having those thoughts of being a head coach until really 3 or 4 years ago. Once I got here and had a couple opportunities to leave and go other places, and I stuck around here because I believe in the mission of this place. I loved working for Coach Niumatalolo. But I started to have those conversations about maybe being the guy that when he was done, maybe being able to replace him. The thought was maybe that was going to happen when he retired, and it just happened a little earlier than we all expected, obviously. But thankful to be in the situation. I understand how fortunate I am to be here, and didn't happen the way I expected it to, but I'm certainly going to make the most of the opportunity, and I'm grateful for it.
Coach Brian Newberry from Navy is with us here on GCR. By the way, I'm also imagining, like, if you had stayed out in Montana, like, you would be your life looking like Yellowstone or something like that at this point. Like, I'm having
Yeah,
those
I'd certainly,
images. Um,
I'd certainly be a fly fishing guide or something in that regard.
that doesn't sound so bad either, if we're being
No,
honest,
no,
Coach. That doesn't sound
and
so bad.
maybe when I retire, right?
You mentioned obviously, spending the last couple of years with Ken, and I think the world of him. I think everybody that's ever known him thinks the world of him. I'm wondering what you could tell us about some of the things that you learned about being a coach in the next few years. And we know that there will be things that will be different, obviously, for you as a
Yeah,
head coach, but things that maybe you will do as a head coach that you know you'll do because of what you learned spending the last few years around someone who's been so successful in that role.
yeah. I've learned so much from Coach Niumatalolo in the last 4 years. We could talk about that for an hour probably, but my biggest takeaway is he's one of the best leaders I've ever been around. Does things the right way for the right reasons. The way he treats the players here, the way he treated the staff when I was here, the way that he handled adversity, the way that he took ownership over everything when he didn't have to. All those things, really just the character, the way that he handled everything while he was here, probably what I learned the most. And then there's obviously the football piece of things, and I learned a ton from him in that regard too. But one of the best just human beings I've ever been around, and certainly a better person for being around him over the last 4 years, and definitely a better football coach. And you couldn't ask for a better mentor to prepare you for a role like this. And forever grateful for him taking a chance on me coming from Kennesaw State when he certainly didn't have to do that. And grateful that he believed in me and took that chance on me. And I can't say enough about him as a human being, and just how much I've learned from him, over the last 4 years. And talking to our players and recruits, the culture piece around here is not going to change. The things that Coach valued and believed in, those principles that he hung his hat on, I believe in those wholeheartedly, and it's one of the reasons why, I stayed here when I had some opportunities to do some other things, because I believed in that. On top of the fact that we get to go to work with these players every day, I think we've got, the best locker room in the country. I can't imagine a better group of players and young men with this kind of character and all the things that you get here that are a little bit built into the academy. But we've got phenomenal young men. They're a blast to coach, and to get to coach guys that are going to go out and are willing to protect and serve your country, and to know that the alignment with the institution and what your values are the same is awesome. I can't say enough about that.
Is there a line in obviously wanting continuity and wanting to continue what you bring up with the culture versus, you also have to make your own, mark and put your own stamp in as a head coach? Like, is there a line that you're trying to find between those two things right now?
Yeah, there certainly is. I mean, and I've said this is not a broken program by any stretch. It's not a rebuild, maybe a reboot, maybe is the better word to use. I've used that before, but no, I'm not Coach Niumatalolo. I aspire to be a lot more like him in a lot of different ways, but I'm Brian Newberry. I'm going to try my very best to be myself. Like I said, I think we have a lot of the same values as far as the important things that we believe in, how you treat people and the way you do things. But yeah, I'm going to be myself, and there's some things that are going to be a little bit different, obviously, and we're, offensively and defensively, we're going to say very similar. Offensively, there'll be a few changes. Obviously, we're bringing some new coaches, and my vision for what I want us to look like offensively is slightly different. But yeah, I'm going to be myself, but those values, those core values, and the things that we believe in here, things that Coach Niumatalolo built in here, are not going to change.
Can you, you say your idea is a little bit slightly different. Are we still talking about the triple option? Like, are we talking about, air raid? Like, what do you mean by
no,
that?
we're definitely not going air raid.
Yeah.
I believe that you have to be able to run the football here, and we're going to be under center. I believe in that. It's an equalizer, and we have to be able to do that. That's going to be our base. But we're going to be multiple. We're going to have the ability to get in the gun. We're going to incorporate a tight end into a lot of the things that we're doing. We're going to have the ability to get the ball in the perimeter and not just with a pitch, to be able to throw it out there and get the ball out in space and take what people give us and be able to have the ability to loosen people up so we can run the football. And so, we've hired an offensive coordinator, as I've known for a long time.
Yep.
Our vision for what I want it to look like is the same. We're unified in that, and I'm excited about moving forward and always have to evolve and adapt your offense to the times, and we're going to do that. And you also have to be able to utilize your personnel. What are your strengths and what are your weaknesses, and understanding that, and not asking your players to do something that they can't do, but asking them to do something that they can do and be successful at. And, so we're going to do everything we can from the X's and O's standpoint to help them in that regard, but not get away from who we are and who we need to be here in order to be successful. We have to have a niche on offense. We have to be difficult to prepare for. It's the same thing on defense and special teams. And so, my vision for us is to be a nightmare to prepare for in all three phases, and we're going to double down on that. And but the offense will look slightly different. Some of the foundation, the fundamentals of option football are not going to change. We have to have the ability to do that, in my opinion. And so we're going to stick to that, but we will adapt and evolve in order to be successful here.
And obviously Grant Chestnut, who you referred to, the new offense coordinator. But I did see that it was still important to you to keep even a lot of the offensive coaches around moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got some phenomenal coaches here. I've been here for a long time and understand great football coaches and great people, and have poured into these young men for many, many years. And so it's important to me to have some continuity on that side of the football as well. And those guys are phenomenal coaches. And I know, Grant Chestnut is an outstanding coach, going to bring a little bit different, some different ideas and a little different vision. And I know, there's power in counsel, and so I wanted to surround him with the best possible coaches we could find, and sort of have the ability to keep some of those guys from the offensive staff was really important to me. And I think it's great for our players as well.
I understand that entirely. Coach, we saw, staying on the offensive side, we saw Xavier really come on this season when he got his opportunity again. And I think we were starting to maybe scratch the surface of what might be there. Have you talked to him? I know, these are always difficult things, right, whenever there's change. Have you had conversations with him? And, are you comfortable saying that he's the guy moving forward, or do you need to open that up a little bit?
Yeah, I think I agree with you 100%. I think we're just scratching the surface on what he can do and who he can be, and you really saw him kind of come into his own and start to play more and more confidence as the year went on. I think he's got some tremendous leadership abilities. And to his credit, when I was named the interim, he was in my office the next morning, and really excited about where he's at, how much he's grown, and everything's going to be open as far as the competition goes, Glenn. But I am really excited about Xavier. Can't say enough good things about just him as a person and his, what I've seen from him from a leadership perspective. And, I've been in my cubby hole over here and just absorbed in the defensive side of the football. But what I've been able to view from him, I'm really excited and pleased with, and excited about the future.
How do you possibly go about replacing a John Marshall, Coach?
Yeah, it's difficult, really difficult. John developed into a really, really good football player. And, we've got some depth at that position. I'm excited about the guys we've got coming back, and excited about the guy that's coaching him as well. He's did a great job with John. We'll continue to do a good job of developing the guys at that position. And, as you know, Glenn, in this defense, this structure, this system, that position's got to be one of your best players. And and when that guy's playing well and is really productive, you think about it. Jake Springer played that position 19, was really productive. We were pretty good on defense. And then, you look at the same thing with John, just look at his numbers. And it's a guy we bring off the edge a lot. He's out to the field in space and has to make a lot of plays out there. And we ask that guy to do a lot. And he's got to be a smart player. He's got to be a savvy player. And, it's going to be hard to replace John. We'll do the best we can.
Coach, just another couple minutes here. Brian Newberry, new football coach at the Naval, new head coach at the Naval Academy. Let me make that abundantly clear. One of the things that jumps out at me, right? Like there was obviously quite the high standard. You guys, you put things together at the end of the year, got that remarkable win down at UCF, and incredible comeback
Mhm.
at Notre Dame, and the program, the school decided that that wasn't quite enough.
Yeah.
How important is that to you? Kind of being aware of, look, the expectations here are not, hey, we're an academy, so it's okay if we just win every now and then. Like, how much do you own the? Clearly, the expectations are extraordinarily high of where this program is supposed to be.
Yeah, no question. It's going to remain very, very high. And I think uh, the games that you mentioned, our kids know that we're really close. And we did that with a really young football team with 17 starters coming back. And so I think there's a lot of confidence on this football team right now. And we've got to continue to get better, obviously, on both sides of the football, and we will. But the nucleus is there, and it's really strong. And so I couldn't be more excited about this football team right now, and just the potential moving forward. Excited to get going here in the off season. Excited to get into spring ball, and so I think our players should have a good amount of confidence right now. Obviously disappointing loss there at Army. It could have easily gone the other way, but proud of this group, proud of the way they ended the year, proud of the way they kept fighting. I think that speaks a lot to the character of our football team and the resilience. And we got a great group, like I keep saying, and so and I really couldn't be more excited. But our expectation is really high here, and it'll continue to be that way. And like I said, it's not a rebuild, it's a little bit of a reboot. We just got to do some things a little bit better, and we will. And really, really fired up about that and excited to get started in this off season.
All right, just so we get to know more about you, give me one name, one person, besides, of course, Ken, who you spoke so glowingly of, that maybe you would say probably most responsible for the reason why you're in this position today, now the head coach of the Naval Academy.
Oh man, there's too many to single out. One, I feel like I'd be doing an injustice to some others if I did that. But it's really, because I've been in a lot of different places and had a lot of different responsibilities, and I've learned so much from so many different people, and don't really have one particular mentor, that I've really leaned on my entire career, tried to model myself after. It's more of a combination of a lot of really, really good ones that I've worked for that had some great traits, and learned so much really at every stop that I've had. And you try to, you're around good people, and you try to absorb as much as you can from everybody. And I've tried to do that over my career. And there's things that I admire about so many guys that I've worked with, and guys that I currently work with. And so I still learn every day. And I was really fortunate enough to work for Coach Niumatalolo. That's a once in a lifetime deal, obviously. And I'd say that he's had the biggest impact on me overall, and I know I already said that, but I just can't say enough good things about him and so many of the guys I've worked for along the way.
All right, let me try this one. We always like to ask people your pinch me moment in your life, in your career, like the moment that
Mm.
you've experienced that you just had to look around and say, I can't believe I'm doing this right now. I can't believe I'm with this person right now. Whatever it is, do you have an
Yeah,
all-time pinch
yeah,
me moment for me?
sure. Well, both of them have happened since I've been here. Getting named the defensive coordinator here was the first one. And then obviously becoming the head coach obviously is a huge pinch me moment. But
Yeah.
not my wildest dreams.
All right. All right. That's not bad. I was wondering. I don't know if there's like a game that stood out. Like if you just looked around, you're like, oh my god, what am I doing
Yeah.
here? Like,
Well, I'll tell you what, the first Notre Dame game
okay.
was probably that pinch me moment. When we were in 19 and having a pretty good year, and going on the road and being in that stadium, that was a pinch me moment for
Yeah,
sure.
that's pretty significant. All right, and my last one. You're in charge of post game meals now moving forward. Tell me what's on the menu for your post game meal, Coach.
Oh, it'd have to be a nice filet mignon
I
on the
mean,
grill,
my man.
done my way, reverse seared, with a twice baked potato, something like that.
I feel like after the first win, for sure, that's gonna have to be on the menu. Gonna have to make that
No
happen.
question.
Hey, Brian
Yes,
Newberry,
sir.
really appreciate you spending the time with us. We will definitely be in touch, and we care a lot about Navy football up this way, and so we will be checking in, and we can't wait to see what's next for the program. You know the affinity that we have for Ken, but we are going to be rooting for you and everything that you're going to accomplish during your time as the coach of the Naval Academy. Appreciate you spending time with us this morning, and looking forward to more. Thank you so much for doing this.
Awesome. Thanks for having me on, Glenn. Appreciate it.